What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The NFL Draft is coming up in about a little less than a month at this point as I shoot and upload this video, and I wanted to talk to you guys about positional developments as far as where the Steelers could be going in the draft. I have not yet done my mock draft video. I have 3 mock drafts that I've written out, and I'll give you guys all 3 of those drafts in a video later on, but I wanted to talk about certain positions and points of interest for the Steelers as free agency, kind of the first and second waves kind of end, and the players we brought in and lost, and kind of who remains and what positions are really important for us to look at upcoming in this draft. And a big development happened just yesterday where Terrell Edmunds said goodbye to the Steelers. So Pittsburgh has re-signed DeMonte KZ. I think it was a two-year deal, I believe. Veteran safety DeMonte KZ got re-signed for I believe it was a 2-year deal. And Terrell Edmunds has not yet been re-signed and not been signed by anybody yet. Edmunds was drafted 4 years ago and then played his first 4 years under his rookie deal for the Steelers. Tested the market a bit last year, didn't get what he thought he was going to get, came back on a 1-year prove-it deal for the Steelers for his 5th season, and I thought played pretty well. I thought his last 2 years were his best 2 years so far for the Steelers. Terrell Edmunds was a reach at the spot we got him at. He was definitely a project for us. A physical guy. I think a lot of people thought we would get his brother, who went to Buffalo, or kind of a coverage safety. Terrell Edmunds has been a hitting safety, kind of a physical box safety that has improved in coverage. It's kind of been slow and steady. It's been a rocky road at times, but Terrell Edmunds has improved. But he said his goodbyes to Pittsburgh. So either that means he is signing somewhere else soon, or he at least knows he's not going to be coming back to Pittsburgh, which made me look at kind of what we have, what we're losing, and what we could be looking at in the NFL Draft. Now, as soon as Terrell Edmunds said his goodbye tweet to Pittsburgh yesterday, and I wanted to say thank you, Terrell Edmunds, for 5 solid seasons and being a long-term starter here, and once a Steeler, always a Steeler and all that, so I wish you the best wherever you go. I'm going to follow your career, and I hope you do well. But we have to look at kind of his strengths and weaknesses, what he gave us, what we're losing by losing him, and what is left for us at safety now, because all the rumors started right away. Is Pittsburgh going to sign another safety? Is Pittsburgh going to draft somebody? There's been one name in particular that's been talked about for Pittsburgh, and he is the reason for this video. He is the main topic of this video. Should Pittsburgh draft Brian Branch, Alabama's safety/utility secondary player, Brian Branch, who is the best safety in this draft coming up? Is that now an extra need for the Steelers? Well, to answer that, we look at Pittsburgh. We've been playing last year with having KZ and Edmunds, playing 3 safety sets, and I really enjoyed those. For the first half of the year, KZ was injured, and so we just had Edmunds and Minka as usual. And then when KZ came back, we started playing these 3 safety sets, and that gave us a lot more physicality, a lot more diversity, a lot more different looks on defense, which, along with the health of TJ Watt, really improved our defense in the second half of the season to become one of the upper echelon defenses in the league at times, really getting better toward the end of the year. But I want to look at stats, and I want to kind of dive into this, should Pittsburgh draft Brian Branch coming up. Terrell Edmunds stats real quick. Here we go. He's played in 75 out of 79 games for us. In the 5 years he's played in the NFL. He only missed 3 games in 5 seasons, starting in 75 games. In those 5 seasons, he's had 5 interceptions, 26 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery, no forced fumbles, 410 combined tackles, 15 tackles for a loss, and 9 QB hits. Now, looking at Edmunds, a lot of those stats don't jump entirely off the page. 5 interceptions in 5 seasons for playing consistently is not a whole lot. 1 fumble recovery is nothing special. No forced fumbles in that time. But Terrell Edmunds is, again, your typical box safety. His physicality is really good. He plays well along the line. He is a very good running back tackler. He's a downhill thumper style guy where he's kind of the inside linebacker we've been needing these last couple of seasons, as he does really well at tackling running backs downhill, and he's a pretty solid quarterback hit guy, as I read 9 quarterback hits for him. One of our best tacklers, although he would miss at times, but his problem was the coverage. Minka Fitzpatrick is kind of the do-all safety where he can tackle and rush, but he can also cover the best. Edmunds' coverage was really hit or miss, especially in the earlier seasons. He's gotten slightly better in the last 2 years, but still not great. He is definitely your hitting safety. But again, not getting a lot of picks, not getting a whole lot of splash plays, but he is getting a lot of consistent tackles, especially in the open field, and helping us in the run game overall. Now to look at DeMonte KZ. He's played in the NFL 6 seasons for Dallas, Atlanta, and then last season Pittsburgh. In those 6 seasons, he has played the first 3 years he played all 16 games in his first 3 seasons. In 2020, he played in just 4 games. In 2021, he played all 17 games, and then last year for us, he played 9 games with 4 starts. So in 2 of the last 3 years, he has been injured and banged up, and that's one of the advantages to Terrell Edmunds over KZ in our current situation. The best ability is availability, and Terrell Edmunds doesn't miss any time. KZ, again, out of his 6 seasons, 4 perfect seasons as far as attendance, playing in all the games. But in 2 of the last 3, 2020 just 4 games, last year just 9 games, with 4 of those being starts. But in his career, he's got 14 interceptions, 19 pass deflections, 7 forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries, 271 combined tackles, and 3 tackles for a loss. So what you're getting with KZ is you're getting interceptions. Again, whereas Terrell Edmunds in 4 seasons had just 5 picks, or 5 seasons had just 5 picks, KZ in 6 seasons has had, where are we at? Has had 14 picks, including one where he was leading the league with 7 picks in a season. So he's been an interception guy. He is a coverage guy. He lacks the kind of around the line of scrimmage, blitzing ability, quarterback pressure, sometimes running back pressure. He lacks those things, but he is still a solid tackler with 271 combined tackles. And he is a guy that's going to give you some splash plays. He's going to give you 7 forced fumbles and 14 picks. He is catching the interceptions. He's covering well. He's giving you splash plays. So what do you want? Do you want a big-time tackler and hard hitter in an Edmunds? Or do you want the cover guy that's going to give you the big splash plays in coverage, like a DeMonte KZ? I think KZ is the better overall player for what we're trying to do. But without Edmunds there, we lose positional flexibility. Because Edmunds can do the outside linebacker blitzing off the edge kind of stuff, and he can do a lot of the downhill thumping at the inside linebacker kind of spot, where he's roaming around, and you can have 3 safeties on the field. So again, what we're doing by losing Edmunds is we're losing the flexibility of that roaming safety, because KZ is definitely more of the traditional safety, much like Minka is. And if there's not a third guy on the field, Minka can't blitz as much and do as much in the middle of the field as he does with Edmunds out there. The familiarity is not there as much with KZ. So you have your 2 traditional safeties, and that's great, but again, you're losing the stuff around the line of scrimmage, you're losing a bit of Minka's motion with KZ out there, and KZ has had some injury issues. So now you're saying, okay, with Edmunds gone, do we need a third safety out there? We have our 2 starters, but again, we're losing some mobility, and we're losing possibilities of injuries. So, do you want to get Brian Branch? But again, we're looking at our needs right now. We definitely need an offensive tackle right now as it stands. We need at least 1 tackle in the draft fairly high. We need a slot corner, for sure. We have Peterson and Wallace on the outside. We need a third corner, a young corner, early in the draft. We need a defensive tackle, for sure, at some point in this draft. So those are definitely 3 major needs. But now Brian Branch brings back that flexibility. Brian Branch can play slot corner and can play safety. He takes out 2 needs at once, and he doesn't have to be on the field all the time being a rookie. He can learn behind 2 very good veterans in KZ and Minka, and he can play on the field at different spots. Here's Brian Branch's stats in 3 seasons. He's got 4 picks, 1 fumble recovery, 172 combined tackles, and 23 pass deflections in his time in Alabama. He is the most diverse and position flexible player in the entire draft in the secondary in this class. He is a very hard hitter. He rocks the running backs at the line of scrimmage. He times his blitzes very, very, very well. His footwork is very good. His confidence and decision-making are very solid. When he knows that he's going to hit the hole in the middle or come around the outside and blitz at one of the linebacker-style spots, he is decisive, he is quick, he has burst, and he finishes his tackles. He hits hard. He makes good decisions. He's around the line very, very well. When he's playing in the slot, he's physical. He can keep up speed-wise with these guys. He can keep up physicality-wise with these guys. He's a little bit small, but his physicality makes up for it. I've seen him play on the outside of corner. I've seen him play on the inside of corner. I've seen him play a little bit deeper at safety, and I've seen him around the line of scrimmage. He brings a lot to the table. And you might say, well, you don't really want to draft a safety super early because you need a corner, you need a D-line, you need O-line, you might need a wide receiver at some point, you want a backup quarterback at some point, you might need a backup tight end at some point. You need a lot of pieces to fill out. You might need some edge depth, you might need some backup D-line guys behind Hayward. We're looking for a lot of things to fill this roster out, and we have 3 or 4 high-end needs we want to get in the first 4 rounds. But if you get Brian Branch, you're getting your kind of third safety, and you're getting your slot corner at the same time. Now, do you want to commit to one guy in 2 spots? And do you want to risk if KZ gets hurt that Branch goes into starting right away? Well, I think Branch is capable of doing that. So, looking at his tape again, he's physical, he can locate the ball in the air, he knows when to blitz. When he does blitz, he's decisive, he picks his hole very, correctly and quickly. His footwork, both in going after the quarterbacks and running backs and in coverage, are very good, and you can line him up around the field, which kind of makes him like a Terrell Edmonds in that sense, where you can have KZ and Minka in coverage, or you can push back Branch in coverage and disguise and bring Minka in. So that gives you the flexibility that Edmonds gave you, and it gives you better coverage like a KZ. His player comp has been Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, which is one of the NFL's eventual Hall of Fame safeties. He's a ball hawk that makes splash plays, and he can do different things around the field, and that is what Brian Branch brings you. Now, again, do you want to prioritize him? Because if you get him, he has to be number 17. He's going to be a first-round pick, I think. I don't even see him lasting to 32. He might go to 32. He's not going to go to our second-round pick. He's not going to last to the mid-second round. He's going to go at very, very most 32. I think he's going to go up around our first pick. And so if you draft him, what are you sacrificing? Are you willing to sacrifice, that offensive tackle you have to get early? Are you willing to sacrifice D tackle, or are you going to consider him a corner? Could you consider him an inside linebacker at times because of the way he stops the run and tracks the ball around the line of scrimmage? He brings you so many things, and he's able to sit behind some guys. So I think it's worth looking at. I would consider this. This is not a guy that I wanted a week or so ago. I said, if we're going to re-sign KZ and Edmonds, there's no reason to get this guy. There are more pure corners out there, and there are more pure linebackers out there. But if you need a safety, and you could use a slot corner, and you could use a guy that can run downhill and thump the running backs, Branch does all of that and takes care of a lot of needs at once. And if you do risk losing KZ, Branch can go back to coverage. So I would consider Brian Branch draftable at 17 or 32. Ideally, you can get an offensive tackle at 17 and get Branch at 32, but if you risk losing him, that could be a big loss for the Steelers because Branch is that hitter, he's that tackler, he's that Pittsburgh culture guy that could add a lot to the roster. So I think it's worth looking at potentially drafting Brian Branch as soon as you possibly can. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the Edmonds hole has left us a Brian Branch size gap to fill? Do you think that KZ is enough? Do you think he can stay healthy for us? Do you want us to prioritize a different corner? Where do you think we should go in the first 2 picks of this draft? Do you think Branch is worth looking at? Because I don't think any other corner/safety hybrid guys are worth looking at in this draft. I wouldn't be going after another high-end safety unless I'm going after Branch. If you're going to draft another safety in this draft besides Branch, I would think it would be round 7. I would think you'd be getting a depth guy that you're just trying to fill in there because you already have a guy in Killebrew who can hit and play special teams. You already have a guy in Trey Norwood who can do some back-end coverage once in a while. Those guys aren't starters, but I think you would be drafting a safety later. I don't think you would take a 3rd or 4th round pick on a safety when you have other needs. So what do you guys think? Where should we draft Branch? Is he draftable? Is he a good fit for us? Should we prioritize him or somebody else? You tell me in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video if you like these Steeler deep dives. And I plan to bring you guys some other possible deep dives in the next few weeks before I do my 3 mock draft write-up that I've done. I'm going to bring you guys some other ideas for who we could draft in the first 2 rounds of this draft. But tell me what you think about Brian Branch, and I will see you guys soon. Take care, guys. Go Steelers.